It's a good time to support the Sky Blue of Manchester, as Pep and the boys have taken a 5-point lead and have a game in hand over second-place United. Liverpool need to recover quickly from their loss against City because they have to travel to third-place Leicester City at the weekend, which seems like a must-win for Liverpool if they want to stay in the title race. Chelsea beat Tottenham, and the Blues are now 1 point off of the Champions League spots. And the thread keeps unraveling for Arsenal, who have fallen out of the top half of the table again. This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Whenever you're hearing this from, thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League from four friends who support different clubs. Red Card Radio helps to tell and opine on the major story threads of the Premier League with a more specific focus on the clubs we support. My name is James, and I'm joined weekly by my three good friends, Tamzid, Sean, and Brad. I support Arsenal. Tamzid is a lifelong Liverpool supporter. Sean's allegiances belong to Tottenham, and Brad is a fan of Chelsea Football Club. All this said, this is our look at the state of the Premier League after Match Day 23. What's going on, boys? Good evening. What's up?
Suffering
Still? Okay. Well, I mean, I'm right there. I'm with you, bro.
Oh, I'm excited.
I think it's a lot of suffering. What do you mean excited?
I'm very excited.
What do you mean excited?
Y'all suffering. 4 games
excited
without
for what?
4 games without Nell? How can I not be excited?
This man really gassing a new manager bounce.
Yup.
Well, let me pull up the league table real quick. We'll quickly go over that. So, of course, Manchester City, first place on 50 points with a game in hand over United, who are at 45. Leicester's in third. Liverpool are right behind them in fourth, but creeping on up. There's Tuchel and the boys. In fifth place, only a point behind Liverpool. West Ham, Everton. Then we have Spurs. Villa, Leeds. Leeds just jumped over Arsenal this afternoon, but they play each other this weekend coming up. Arsenal host Leeds, so we'll talk about that. Southampton can't buy a point recently. And then we just kind of go down the normal characters: Palace, Wolves,
it's all the same.
Brighton, Newcastle, Burnley, and of course Fulham, West Brom, and Sheffield. The 3 teams who have been in the bottom remain in the bottom, and for
the damned
for the rest of the season will remain in the bottom. In my
Oh yeah, we will likely remain in the bottom.
Oh yeah.
I
think 3 of the 4 of us agree here.
Yeah, well, I thought Newcastle was going to make a run at the floor, but
they may
two wins out of 3. They're pulling it out. Yeah, they're pulling it out. The nosedive has plateaued.
So, I mean, clearly the first thing we need to talk about is everyone's boy, Alisson Becker, and the incredible number of mistakes he had over the course of 5 minutes that led directly to 2 Manchester City goals. Of course, I'm talking...
The annual Alisson Howler.
Dude, it was impressive. But yeah, so City traveled to Anfield and beat Liverpool 4-1. I believe that was Pep's first victory in the Premier League at Anfield, so he got the monkey off his back. But we need to
technically it's his first ever victory at Anfield
Was it?
ever,
Okay.
because he came to Anfield for the UEFA Cup in like 2001 and got battered back. Like, a long time ago.
So that's what I thought the statistic was, but I wasn't confident as I was thinking about the words that were about to come out of my mouth. So I was just like, I'm going to be safe and say only the Premier League. I should have just gone with my intuition, but I didn't want to have a Brad moment. So
yeah.
In my defense. But we need to talk about the implications of that game. Where are Liverpool going to go? And, is it really just down to injuries for Liverpool this year? Or have we regressed a little bit?
It's entirely not injuries. Like,
okay.
The entire structure of play is built. All right, so our wingers can't cut in because they have to stay wide, because our fullbacks can't go forward, because our fullbacks have to stay back, because our center backs are 2 midfielders.
Mm-hmm.
It's
so
like
it screws up the entire plan.
Yeah, it fucks with the whole plan. It's not a surprise that we won our 2 games, this barren run, when we actually played a center back in the back line. Played Matip, and then we played Nat Phillips, and we won those 2 games. We played 2 center backs in the back, and we won those games. Like, it's not like rocket science.
And then to your original point, James, is Becker doesn't have a lot of bad games.
No, and
he just happened to have a bad one on the day they played City.
So he annually has one every year. There's one like in 18-19. It was the one against Leicester, where he tried to. Yeah, so he tried to because that was his first season.
Yeah, that was like the fourth or fifth game of the season.
I thought you were talking about four scores 200 years ago.
That howler against Leicester, where he tried to like juke out of and got dummied. But and then he had that one last year against Arsenal. I mean, we had already won the league, but he like passed it straight to Lacazette, and so now it's here.
Yeah, well, there you go. Now it's done. You got the rest of the year for Becker being Becker.
So I was watching the game, and my father was in town this weekend, and I was watching it with him, and he was flummoxed over these two, like especially on the first goal that he gave up, which was the second goal of the game. He was I looked away for some reason, maybe I was like tending to my son or something like that, but he was like, wow, Becker just passed it to City twice in a row. And I was like, I was watching the replay, and I was like, okay, that was really bad. But I was trying to defend him because Alisson is probably, in my estimation, I think he's the best goalkeeper in the world.
In the world?
I think so.
Yeah, he's pretty close.
Alisson's the best goalkeeper in the world.
And he was like, I don't know if he took issue with that claim. He doesn't watch nearly as much football as I do. And even I don't watch nearly as much football as most people. But this dude is clearly an elite goalkeeper, but it seems like at least once a year his brain just turns off. And the impressive part about this one, I thought, was that it happened 3 times in like 5 minutes. Like I don't know if like he just I would say I don't know if he like looked up and saw a beautiful lady in the crowd or something like that, but the only person
he saw a barbecue fly up the sky.
I don't know if it was the fireworks or something, but
that was my question because I didn't get to watch the game because work and life. But was it like a bad 5 minutes? Because from the highlights, from what I did see, was like 5 minutes.
It was it was 3 bad passes.
It's 3 bad passes.
Okay, that's why because I'm with you guys.
So it was
a heck of a goalkeeper.
The first one was like a bad pass out. And then Liverpool recovered really quickly. They pass it back to Alisson, and then he does it again. And then this time,
but like worse. The second time around was worse than the first time around.
And then
because it was like open.
Yeah, and then City score, and then like 3 or 4 minutes later, he gets the ball, and he's like, I don't know if he's like trying to direct like someone to go out or something, and he just passes it directly to Gundogan, just like passes it like right on the edge of the 18-yard box. So like Becker just kind of like lackadaisically like passes it out, and like you would think that the City player who received the ball was a Liverpool player with how he passed him that ball. And it was just like it was incredibly hilarious to watch as a non-Liverpool supporter because the game was close. The game was tight.
Yeah. Was it 1-1 at that point?
And then and then it's just over at that point.
The game started falling apart when Jones and Thiago went off from Milner and Shaqiri. That's when like we really started rolling down because like Milner takes up these awkward positions that I don't really like where he sits. So that already puts like everybody in the back line under pressure because he's like here and he can't. He spends half the game chasing his own first touch like. And,
savage.
Yeah, so like that, and then like Alisson fucking up that like absolutely nailed the game. Like I was like
Foden's goal was really nice.
Yeah,
he did a really good job of just kind of like turning Robertson only the slightest amount. Like Robertson was right there with him, but he got just like a half a yard of space and was able to just bang a howler.
See, the annoying thing is everybody's gonna talk about Foden, and to an extent, yes. But Curtis Jones had a really good game. I'm still mad that he got taken off. Like he was the only one with any initiative.
I mean, you gotta win the game to get talked about. Gotta score the banger to get talked about.
Right.
Okay, if you want to talk about goals, can we talk about how incredibly soft the Sadio, the Mo Salah penalty was?
Good.
So
absolutely good.
soft.
This man gets manhandled on a weekly basis. Maguire last 2 weeks ago dragged him down by his pants, and he didn't get a penalty.
True.
I am glad he's jumping on the slightest touch. Shame. This is the kind of shamelessness I support.
Oh man, when I watched that, I was like, okay, that's clearly a penalty. But also, if that was an Arsenal player, the Arsenal player would have gotten two yellow cards for diving. Instantly.
Red card.
Yeah, probably would have just sent him off for diving. But
Solid red.
So long-term implications for this. What are you guys like? 10 points off, and City have a game in hand on you. Is that the?
Yeah, City have a game in hand on everybody.
Yeah, but so yeah, that's dusted.
Yeah, dude.
Except Spurs.
This
and
league
Everton.
is this league is finished. City are functionally 8 points clear.
Yeah,
at the top, and so
their last 5 are all wins.
It's going to be another one of. I think they won like 6 or 7 in all. Actually.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong, but you got to go further back. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, I'm just saying their last 5 form. It's all wins.
Isn't it 14 games in a row?
Yeah,
games in a row. Yeah,
like
unbeaten. Maybe I don't think they've won 14 in a row.
They have since they drew December 15th with West Brom overall. EFL everything.
Oh, okay. I was going to say in the league, I don't think it's 14 wins.
No.
The last time they lost was to Tottenham in November.
Who beat them?
I think
the club's sitting 8th right now. Out of European football right now.
Some mid-table club.
Yeah.
Speaking of that mid-table club,
must have been Chelsea.
Speaking of that mid-level,
let's talk
table club.
Let's talk about that mid-table club. So yeah.
Which one?
We can talk about both of them. I don't care.
Well, it sounds like we're going to it. I reckon.
So the Rumble in North London, Chelsea came to visit, and Chelsea was victorious.
Tuchel, Jose.
You think so?
No, he didn't.
He didn't. No, he didn't.
We played defense, and then they got the early goal, and then didn't seem too interested in scoring more.
That game would have been nil. I mean, I don't think it was a question of weren't interested in scoring more. I think the question was they just couldn't score more. Quality too. Like Eric Dyer match winner.
Oh, man.
I mean, it was just Eric Dyer with the dumbest penalty I've ever seen in my life.
Eric Dyer match winner.
What is wrong with you?
I saw that and was so hyped. That was amazing. Dyer.
Like if we had special effects on this podcast and you could just zoom in on my face, I was just looking up at the screen and I was like,
"Oh man, that was
like early on in the game too, like 4 or 5 minutes into the game.
What are you doing?
That was spectacular.
What are you doing?
Bad.
I challenge you to find a dumber penalty other than biting somebody and headbutting somebody in the World Cup final than that penalty. Red card. Or no, he didn't even get
Neither of those were penalties.
True.
Yeah.
True.
No, they weren't penalties. Yeah, so they're not even as stupid.
Don't worry.
The other team doesn't even get a goal out of it.
And Luis did it in the league too. But the red card penalty, I would say the ref's fault for calling that on David Luiz, but we already talked about that. But in terms of a player being stupid,
no.
Pretty impressive.
We're talking about like just like bird brain type penalties.
Oh, just
not a penalty.
On the ground and decides to samurai kick him in the calf for no reason.
Well, he's this is the one time I'm going to try and defend Eric Dyer. He is legitimately trying to get the ball, but I don't know where in his brain he's thinking, I'm going to be able to kick the ball. Both of my legs are behind Werner's legs. I'm going to somehow magically get my leg through his leg to kick the ball. I don't understand where he thought that was going to, I don't know what he thought was going to happen there.
You know the worst part about it? Watch it back in slow motion. His left leg was in front of Werner's. He could have just hit it with his left. And then he decided to kick with his right anyway. That's the worst part.
It's such a fantastic
play, though. We do have a worse play than Dyer's penalty. Would be Rudiger's back pass into his own net.
Okay. I mean, yeah, in recent memory, that one was not. That one was not good.
You made the challenge, but Tuchel definitely got over on Jose.
Yeah. So now Chelsea are up to 5th. Spurs are 8th, but if Spurs win their game in hand, they're equal on points at 39 with Chelsea, right? Now other teams also have games in hand and whatever. But I think both of these teams are legit contenders for the top 4.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's at least 6 teams, I think, vying for. I would say 4. There's probably 4 teams vying for 2 spaces, because it kind of seems like 1 and 2. Maybe United will drop off. Maybe it's 5 teams for 3 places. Is a better way to look at it.
I think it is. Yeah.
Lads, we are back in the top 6 clown fest.
Right.
Let's go.
But the problem is,
before we leave that, I'm surprised you left out James and Brad the chance to clown Tottenham, and it came from our own manager, and you missed it. There was a post-game interview where they asked him about him losing 3 games in a row for the first time, and he said, "Oh, for the first time since like 2012, I think it was." And he said, "Oh, has it been that long? Well, when was the last time that Tottenham won a title? 61."
He said that?
Oh, yes. He was like, "Oh, okay. Well, since I'm in 3 cups, maybe since I'm in 3 cups, maybe I can bring you one of those."
Mourinho says.
Yes, he clowned the reporter in the post game.
Was this the Spurs reporter, or was it just like BBC?
It was
Sky or something like that?
It's a Mourinho post game.
But they go through different ones, right? So they do the media ones.
I don't know. Then I don't know who asked.
God, I hope it wasn't like for Spurs TV on their official website. Could you imagine that going on the official website?
That's the football heritage. Fucking.
That's the special one.
He gave the same speech when United lost to Sevilla, and he was like, "Real Madrid, I come here with Porto, I win. I come here with Real Madrid, I win. This is football, anything." It's like, yeah.
Yeah, Jose is always good for a soundbite, like 100%.
You won 3 times in a row. You won a title. What do you want? I'm trying to win you a cup here.
I am the special one.
What was that, Brad?
I think I am a special one.
Oh, is that?
That was the first. That was the first. Yes.
You two missed that because I thought that
I
was
didn't
definitely going to be your list to clown me with.
I didn't get to see that, but
even Mourinho clowned us with it. He's our own manager.
He don't want to be here for his 3rd year. He's like, "I'm done after this year."
Well, like most of the Spurs fan base, or at least the Spurs internet fan base, is Mourinho out at this point, right? You guys are fed up with him.
Oh, I'm not.
You're not.
I'm not. He's fine, man.
What about the Richmond Spurs fan club that you are, or supporters group, I should say, that you run with? How are the RVA Spurs? What do they go by?
So, yeah, it's RVA Spurs.
Oh, yeah. What does RVA Spurs say?
So far we're still Mourinho in. Like we're weathering the storm.
Okay.
Like we got Kane out. We didn't have any signings mid-year, and we need depth. We've needed striker depth for 3 years. That hasn't happened. We needed center back depth, which Rodon is helping.
You guys
actually he's coming around. I actually really like Rodon. I think he's gonna be really good. So he's coming around and getting in the, and then he put on a 19-year-old or something, 18-year-old, something like that. He put, I forget his name now, but he put on somebody really late for a couple of minutes just to see how he reacted to it. Which Mourinho, I don't remember Mourinho doing that a lot, like putting on really, really, really young players.
Never heard of Rafa Varane?
That's true.
Okay, Varane. Okay, if you're good enough, you're getting on.
Well, didn't he play?
So clearly, this kid must be good.
Who's the center back?
It was Varane.
No. I'm talking about for Spurs last season. What's his name? He's injured.
Oh, Juan Foyth.
No.
Tangangan.
Tangangan.
Yeah.
He was a youth team product. Was he like 2021 when he got his debut. But like,
Yeah, he's still in the rotation. He plays in cups.
Oh, I thought he was injured.
Oh, then maybe he. All right.
I mean, why would you play Eric Dyer when you like Tanganga? I thought was pretty decent.
Pretty good. He made his debut against Liverpool.
He's got to be better than Eric Dyer. I mean,
well, clearly in the Chelsea
I
game.
don't know if Mourinho's ever gonna drop Dyer because Dyer's got that quality that Mourinho looks for. He's a shithouse.
Yeah. He's a center defensive mid. Yes. Don't put him on the damn back line.
He's too slow to play in the midfield, though.
He doesn't need to be
technically
fast.
too slow to play anywhere.
But also, center defensive mid on our team is congested, so that's probably why he's on the back line.
Well, he's on the back line
because Mourinho loves him. And Mourinho, what are you gonna start him over Winks, Sissoko, Nombele? Like who's coming? Who's not playing?
I mean, he played him in the
for Dyer to play.
He played him in the back line last year.
Yeah, he's been in the back line.
He's been a center back for Jose.
He's pretty much started every game. Every time he's played, has been a center back this year, I believe.
And I think
it's not like Spurs are gonna fucking throw $50 million to go get a real center back. So he's making do with what he's got.
No, they're not.
Vertonghen left. They didn't buy another center back, right?
That was ridiculous.
Just making do.
So okay, Brad. What about I assume that Chelsea supporters are pretty happy these days about Thomas Tuchel and the recent run of forms. Now, I have a kind of a maybe more introspective question. Do you think that the team has turned it around because of new tactics, new manager? Do you think that the team would have done this under Frank? Or do you think that what has happened over the last few weeks was only possible because of Tuchel?
That's a very interesting question. I think Frank deserved more time. I think I've always been Lampard in. I know Tammy is shaking his head, and I know as a Chelsea supporter, I should have known better than to have him out. Are we playing better? Sure. Is it the new manager coming in? The new manager bounce? Probably. So let's revisit in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
I do like the style that we're playing. I'm interested to see if he keeps Hudson-Odoi at wingback and how that goes.
They don't know how to play the style yet. It's been like 2 weeks.
He's playing the same style as Lampard did.
Yeah, no, they're not changing any different style.
They didn't change a single thing.
I mean, I think that
not from what I've seen.
To be fair, I think he's prioritized Hudson-Odoi more than Frank ever did. He's given Hudson-Odoi more liberty.
I was surprised to see Mason Mount back out there. Though.
Well, it's interesting because he did sit him
and used him in a good way.
And I think he's kind of recognizing how important he is to your midfield.
Yeah,
which seems crazy.
Tuchel went in and said like Mount is a key player for him and is going to continue to be a key player for him. Like I think Mace has got a new daddy now, Daddy Tuchel.
Oh my God! Please stop.
Jesus, please stop.
You're not calling me daddy, please.
Do y'all know how the new manager bounce works? Like what the theory behind the new manager bounce is?
Yeah,
like what the logic behind it?
Screw the old guy.
Yeah, but why it works?
I'm interested to hear what you hear.
The logic is that once a new manager comes in, all the players who felt like they were undervalued overperform to compensate for that. That's why all these teams always end up having a new manager bounce for like 5, 6, 7, 8 games or whatever. Right? That's why relegation teams suffer the most. Relegation teams are also full of the biggest journeymen, like in the league, right? Like, you think Joleon Lescott's been slumming it at Aston Villa for no reason? Like, that's just how it is, right? So when a new manager comes in, they get to like Pip because they're like, oh, I gotta reshuffle the pecking order because the new manager that's the manager's job, right? He has to pick his pecking order guys, right? Yeah. So all these players overperform. Kovacic has been a ghost this entire season.
Yeah.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, like, Tuchel comes in and Kovacic is like, oh, well, I can make forward passes too.
I wonder how much of it is senior players feeling vindicated. Like, oh, yeah, like, clearly that other guy had to go and, like, let me shine. Because I think you saw that last year with Arteta and Ozil. And that Arteta came in, Ozil played for 10 games and played very well. And then COVID happened and and the league shut down, and then we never saw him again. And so there are other circumstances there, but it was no secret that Emery and Ozil had beef, and so Emery gets the boot, and it's kind of like vindication for those senior players who have been maligned by the manager, and they're like, look, they finally recognize that this dude was wrong, and this is how, and they try and show to the new manager. And it's also, I think, easier for new managers to begin trusting more experienced players, and so I think like the more senior experienced players get more of a chance at first.
Yeah, like that's why Rudiger's playing.
Yeah,
and Alonso is back in the lab and everything.
Alonso's hiding. Where has he been?
Kovacic has also
Garbo.
been in Frank's cellar since West Brom. Like they got into a dust up at halftime, and then he just went to the cellar.
Running away from Fat Frank.
Yeah, that's what he tried to do.
I'll take Alonso.
And also,
what?
Conte's.
Yes.
What?
Yo, what?
Brad, what's your transfer fee? 10 million
For what?
Alonso?
Yep.
Why?
Bring him over here. I want him on a deal.
Doesn't he have to go? I thought Arsenal was the retirement home for
No,
Chelsea
let's go.
players.
Let's go. I'll take Alonso right now, brother.
Speaking of Arsenal being the retirement home for former Chelsea players, the other fat man from Chelsea now wants to go to Arsenal.
He said he grew up an Arsenal fan.
Eden Hazard, like the other fat man.
That hurt.
I'm like, hook it, let's go. Hazard Willian, one more run, the last dance. Let's go.
I'll take him and Christensen.
Hey,
have them both.
Since you only brought in Christensen on a
Christensen
injury, I think.
Bro, you asking for Christensen and Alonso is the most.
Bring him. I want him on a deal though. I ain't paying a lot.
Spurs
BS thing ever.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you could ask for Tomori, who's currently balling out in AC Milan, but you're asking for two absolute scrubs.
Yeah,
right?
I want him for like less than 10 apiece.
That's Daniel Levy territory all over.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Getting him on a bargain, and then we can repack
is it the 2 for 1 bin?
Years ago.
Look,
Say again?
Is it the 2 for 1 bin?
Oh, 2 for 1? Oh yeah. Get him. You buy both of them. You get them for $5 million a piece. Yes, let's go. Bring them on.
You'd have a backup striker finally with Alonso.
Yeah, that's why I want him because he basically plays like.
Kovacic is playing more because Conte's been injured as
positions.
well. Conte's had hamstring issues again, so like that's why I want to see what happens over these next few weeks of who actually stays in the lineup. And now Thiago's injured. At least it's not a hammy, from what I saw. But we also don't.
The problem with Christensen is we would probably play him at center defensive mid, and he's like like what said with Dyer, it's too congested. We wouldn't play him at center back.
The problem with Christensen is he also may as well be 5'5".
Yeah,
he doesn't play with his frame.
Yeah, no, he also may as well be 5'5".
Jose might just throw some gloves on him and put him between the posts. You never know.
Could you imagine a center defensive midfield with him and Dyer?
I think
I don't know
I
why
could
you
imagine it. I would like to play against
it. You actually know it. You've lived it. It's Mustafi and Xhaka.
Okay, well, good night, guys. It's been real. This has been Red Card Radio.
What's your at again?
Except Mustafi and Xhaka can actually pass.
I mean,
well,
Christian thinking pass.
Well, Xhaka can. How about that?
I mean, sideways and back. He's pretty decent.
Listen, Xhaka scored a goal like 3 weeks ago off a free kick. So
he always does that.
The dude's
every once in a while he does that.
The dude has a cannon.
If he can do that, why can't he pass? What's wrong with him?
Because it's a much different technique to precisely pass the ball than it is to just put your laces through it and let the swerve take it past the goalkeeper.
So,
because the thing is, when you miss a shot, it's in the stands. When you miss a pass, it's
in the back of your own net.
The other team's running at your goalkeeper.
There's pressure on you when you have to pass, as opposed to taking a free kick
or a shot.
I just don't see. Well, maybe it's just my mentality, but I don't see that much of a difference. You're putting a spin on it one way or the other.
I don't know.
Or you're hitting it straight.
But you also have time.
I don't dislike Granit Xhaka as like a human being. I like him. I think he's a decent footballer, and I don't want to. I think he gets a lot of flack. I think some of it's deserved. I like the dude, but
So with where we're going, right? Let's stay here. Are the wheels coming off the bus, James? Before I head up, what's going on there?
What a smooth transition.
Well, so please don't.
Wheels coming off the bus. They're basically a bicycle at this point.
Yeah. So I
the
think
wheels have fallen off months ago.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the wheels were already off. I think they were putting the wheels back on.
They got
and then fell off
they've
again.
been riding on cinder blocks for about 5 miles now.
So Craig Pawson had his thing against us when we played Wolves. So we had the VAR game, and then was just such a bonehead Cedric Soares pass to let Villa score. But then there was also just so much like garbage refereeing in the Villa game as well. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm trying to say that Arsenal's problem is the Premier League officials or VAR, because like clearly we have much bigger issues than just that. But man, Don Arson was so right. Like 15 years ago.
Don Wenger was right.
15 years ago when he was saying that these English refs are garbage and that we just need to get rid of them. It's so true. But we'll talk about VAR in a minute.
Is this the only league that uses their own countries?
No, everyone does.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
It's like, we're just shit.
But
like,
for some, the FA
Yeah.
feels obliged to just protect the Premier League match officials. Like, and anyway, well, okay, I'm gonna get in the weeds. I think our biggest issue right now is missing Kieran
Martinelli's health.
No, because he's healthy. I think it's Kieran Tierney's health.
Then where is he?
For some reason,
He's one of your best players. Why is he not playing?
Because 975-year-old Willian needs to get a cameo, and
every time he plays, your guys' offense is different.
He played 16 minutes against Aston Villa, and I think he had 2 passes and 1 was incomplete. Like one, it was his numbers for
Willian.
It was.
We need to do a swap deal. Willian for Origi.
I would take that in a heartbeat.
Willian for Origi, just a straight swap.
I will fly to London. I'll rent a car and drive him to Liverpool.
Yeah, cool. You could keep Origi, and then we could put Willian in the dungeon, so that'll free somebody up to come play for us instead. That'll free Naby Keita. I swear there's some demon shit going on in that dungeon. That somebody has to be there at all times in the season.
I was at the Arsenal bar when Willian got subbed on. It was an eruption of booze. They were. Dude, Richmond Gooners were so mad.
Did you cheer?
When he got subbed on, I thought a table was going to get flipped over.
Yo, shout out Richmond Gooners, because y'all know what's up.
Yeah, they were so mad. So mad.
Willian masterclass.
Yo, I don't.
I was just sitting.
So
I
Sean,
try to hide my crest. It's their bar. I try to be respectful. I hide my crest, sit in the corner, but I was just giggling.
Yeah. So Sean, to your point about Martinelli, when I'm watching this game, I'm like, okay, things I want to see. I want to see Aubameyang come on, and I want to see Martinelli come on, and I want to see Odegaard come on. Yeah. And I got two out of 3. But why Willian gets game time over Martinelli blows my mind. It's the same thing with in October and November when Mustafi was getting game time over other younger center backs. It's like, why are we playing this dude who's out of contract and clearly doesn't have a future at our club? Like, I understand that Willian has and unfortunately has two more years after this with our club. It's unless for some reason some MLS team, DC United, where you at, wants to come in and pay Willian more money than Charlotte Football Club needs players.
Support your local, Brad.
He is. He's got a Charlotte Football Club.
That's not his local. He didn't grow up in Charlotte.
Okay. You're saying DC United. You're saying DC.
Yes.
Okay.
Brad, support your local.
My local is Charlotte FC, sir.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
I have a coin.
The Richmond Gooner.
Where did you grow up?
I have a coin.
Where did you grow up?
I have a coin. My coins. I gotta find them now.
All right, Brad. You're in the weeds. You're in the weeds.
The Richmond Gooner conspiracy theory is that Willian has a clause in his contract that he has to get playing time every game.
Yeah, that's plausible. That's actually plausible. I believe that.
I wouldn't doubt it. But I think for all intents and purposes, I think that Arsenal's only path to European football next year is to win the Europa League. I think that 7th place is legitimately out of reach.
I don't know about that.
It's
so tight.
I'm so pessimistic at this point that I just don't see it, and I would much.
This is Arsenal's best chance, right? Because no good team actually dropped down to the Europa League this time.
No, yeah, I mean, I think this is our shot to win it.
Look at Sean getting salty that Tottenham's here.
That's it.
I wasn't getting salty. I was looking at the league. I'm like,
drop down from the Champions League.
I'm just curious how he doesn't think 7's gonna make it because he's only 6 points out.
So let's do that real quick.
Oh, it's 2 games out of hand. Oh, never mind. You're fucked.
Yeah, Villa has 2 games in hand. Leeds has a game in hand. Spurs has a game in hand. Everton has 2 games in hand. So looking at that, it's a lot more than 6 points.
Speaking of Leeds, how are you feeling about that?
Yo, we'll talk about that after we talk about VAR. But I'm not feeling good. As a quick teaser to you guys, James is not confident. But I do want to talk about VAR because it seems like I'm the maligned Arsenal fan. We all feel like VAR hates us. But recently, Mike Dean has had 2 red cards overturned after the fact. Then he subsequently apparently got online death threats, and so he's not going to be officiating any games this weekend. But I'm kind of curious because as an Arsenal fan, I know that all Arsenal fans are very, very upset with VAR right now. We don't think it's working. I think that some Arsenal fans want to do it, and I'm a proponent of VAR. I think it will make the game better in the long run. But I think that English referees have a history of being garbage. But I'm kind of curious what you think your fan base's perception of VAR. I want to start with you, Brad. What do Chelsea fans think about VAR?
Oh, that it's been trash. That's trash. But I think again, it's more that English referees they need to figure out a way that it's not like the 4th official on the bus. That it's not all one team. It needs to be its own separate group of people watching, not at the stadium, nowhere near, not part of the same ref team.
Well, they're not. They're over at they're at like the Premier League match official center, wherever that is. It's like
Are you sure? Because
Stanley Park, I think that's what it's called.
Last I heard, they were all it was.
They're clearly protecting their own refs.
I think that's a lot of it too. Is that hey, where's the accountability? I have an idea, but we'll get to that after everybody else says how their fan bases feel.
Sean, what do Spurs supporters feel about?
So far, I don't feel jaded by it. I think usually we get treated pretty fair. Like if it's a foul, it's a foul. If it's offsides, it's offsides. But what I would say about it is I think they spend, maybe we'll get to this later, but I think they spend more time figuring out if a hand or a foot's offsides than they do if a foul's actually a foul.
Okay.
So fair. I think their focus is in the wrong spot.
Okay. And Brad, to answer your question, it's Stockley Park is where the VAR hub is. And
what is it, Stanley Park?
I thought it was, I knew it was something Park.
Yeah, Stanley Park is the park between Everton, Goodison, and Anfield.
I knew it was an S and a park, so I couldn't remember the name. Tamsi, what do Liverpool supporters think about?
Dude, we've been beefing with the Premier League goal. What is it? PM goal for like the entirety of this season. We've been outright beefing with them from last year.
Yep.
When they were trying their level best to make sure we couldn't win like games. The Premier League refs are horrendous. They were horrendous before VAR, and they'll continue to be bad afterwards. Like, all of them have to go. All of them. And I don't support sending Mike Dean death threats, but I understand. Like,
this is probably going to not. I'm not going to say it. Never mind. Continue. I'm not.
Dude, Craig Paulson, Mike Dean, John Moss, all of them have to go. They're all so bad.
Michael Oliver.
We haven't had a good ref since Michael Oliver. We haven't had a good ref since Clattenburg.
You don't like Michael Oliver? That's the only one I feel like is consistent.
Okay, he's the only decent one, but it's like he is the least blind person leading the blind people.
God.
He's just consistent. So if he calls the same crap all the time, you know what to expect. Mike Dean's all over the place.
That's very baseball of you. You just want the strike zone to be consistent.
That's all I want. I want the strike zone to be in the same spot. If you're gonna call at my eyeballs a strike, then make it a strike every day on time. And I feel like Michael Oliver does.
I just want I want the fouls to be I want the rules to be appropriately applied. I want the games to be managed well. People shouldn't be able to get 8 or 9 kicks in before they get a yellow card. And this happens way too frequently against teams that are considered soft or foreign. Like the teams that are considered like run over with foreign players.
That's like English culture, though, right?
Exactly.
Like they'll allow a couple more boots.
Yeah, that they allow the teams that just, like the more English teams or the teams that are comprised of more English players to go kick the foreign teams. And
Brexit means Brexit.
I want the it. Okay, so what specific changes do you think could be implemented for VAR specifically?
VAR as is actually fine. Like, as is, there's nothing wrong with the technology in itself, right? We have cameras. We have cameras. We watch them all the time. The referee has the option to go back and look again that we didn't have last year, but now we do. So they have monitors as well.
Yeah.
Right? Everything about this is good.
They had monitors last year. They just never used them.
Never used them.
They just never used them.
Yeah,
I thought they just didn't have the option to.
No, they did.
Anyway, the technology in itself is fine because the technology in itself is fine everywhere else. Nobody whines about VAR as much as like.
I have one thing that I will bring up. I agree with you on all those points, but the one thing I think that they should only be able to watch the replays back in full time. I don't think they should be able to watch them in slow motion because when you watch a replay in slow motion, it always looks worse than it does at full speed. Tackles look harder, they look more intentional, and they look. You can't perceive like reaction time in slow motion, in my opinion. And so I think that the referees, when they're shown a video on the sideline screen, they should only be allowed to watch it at real time. And honestly, if you have to watch it more than like 2 or 3 times, then it's not a clear or obvious error, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It definitely takes too long.
The Premier League refs have an ego problem.
Yes.
They have to be the center of attention after every game.
Hello, Mike Dean.
And it's so bad. And like crappy pundits and media personalities all want VAR gone so they can talk about bad reffing again because it's the easiest like point to hit. Why did Arsenal lose? Bad referee. It's not because Cedric played a back pass straight to Ollie Watkins. Like, none of that. Like, it's got to be because it's like lazy work. Like, they all want to be lazy together.
Yeah, I agree. I think VAR is good. I think it is good. Like, more technology is better. I'd much rather see them draw lines than 45 minutes after the game ends see a definitive angle that shows the game-winning goal was offside. I'd much rather see them take the 45 seconds or the 1 minute to draw the lines on the pitch and disallow a goal. So I agree with you in principle. But I think that they take too much time, and I think they really should only be able to watch it in full speed. Brad, it looked like you were getting ready to say something before I started.
I agree with you. It takes way too long. Like, it shouldn't take 7 minutes. If that's the case, then you're just looking for something to say why you were right.
Yeah,
that's
right. You're exactly right.
It's like the Suchek of red card.
Secondly, they need to come out and explain their decisions, right? It's like, if there's a red card made, then we need to hear from the ref on to why that red card was made. Well, especially with Suchek and Luis, there's no explanations. They just get to go home.
Like, no, they have a match report that they have to file. I don't know if those are public or not. I don't think they are.
Right. So like there's no public discourse.
We need to have refs do post-match interviews.
That's what I'm saying. Post-match interviews needs to happen. Look at that. Tamzine and Brad agree on something. Let's go.
Yo, I love the video. I think it was John Moss. It was, I don't remember. I think it was the Liverpool game at Anfield, like the one time they tried to do miking up the refs. And I think it was John Moss. And he goes over to talk to the linesman, and he's like, they're talking, and then Moss.
It was between
was it Atkinson?
Liverpool and Spurs. Yeah, and it was Atkinson.
Okay, it was Atkinson.
It was between Liverpool and Spurs, and it's Atkinson talking to his line referee.
And he's like, I can't see it. I'm giving the penalty. I didn't see it. I'm giving the penalty.
He's like, he doesn't know whether Dejan Lovren actually fouled Harry Kane or not. Yeah. He's like, I didn't see it. I'm gonna call him out off the edge. Jordan Henderson's like right there, and he's like, what?
Yo, I love
that would be awesome.
We need to have the audio. Like, I know they're clearly mic'd up, and maybe it's not good in the long-term health of officials for their audio to be piped through a TV broadcast, but their audio needs to be listened to,
automated.
And it should be reviewed by people who aren't Premier League match officials. Like, these are the people, the police policing themselves. Like, that stuff just doesn't work. You can't have the same organization who's in charge of making the decisions then retroactively looking at the decisions and saying, oh no, that was right, or no, that was wrong, because they're always going to side on their own on their homie's side.
They like change their opinions based on like public perception the day after. Like, if enough people get mad, they're like, "Oh well, we're taking Bednarek's red card away."
But it's more than that, because everyone was outraged by the Luis red card, but it was more important to protect the match official and the VAR official and say that the Luis red card was a legit red card.
Yeah,
it's not
when it clearly wasn't.
Clearly wasn't.
Okay. But I think that we're kind of all in agreement that VAR is a positive good, but match officials need to do better, and we need more consistency, or like maybe more communication around why things are happening in VAR.
Yes, more communication.
Zero English referees went to the last World Cup. Zero.
Tamzy just wants to get rid of them all.
All of them. God, bring me the Champions League refs. Bring me all of them. Bring me all the Champions League refs.
What's the name of that one MLS ref? The one dude who's what's his name? The main MLS ref.
The MLS.
Oh my God! Can y'all believe another Calciopoli for English refs? Once one of them retires and then spills the beans.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
Cannot wait. Oh, cannot wait.
All right, so let's look forward a little bit, because we've got FA Cup games going on midweek right now, and then we've got the EPL at the weekend. And for the first time in a long time, I was looking at the schedule. I was like, man, they're finishing the Premier League games on Monday, so we'll have all the games finished before we talk about it before we record our podcast on Tuesday. But then I was like, okay, that's because this Champions League is coming back, because Europe's coming back next week. So, but FA Cup, we had United and West Ham played today. United beat West Ham in extra time. It took them 120 minutes to beat them, which is I think Brad said he watched some of it, but we're not going to talk about that game because it was a snooze fest.
I did.
Okay, Sean watched it too. It was a snooze fest, right?
It was pretty much a snooze fest, and the reason it was, honestly, it's going to sound odd, it's because Lingard was cup tied. Lingard is one of the most creative players that West Ham have.
Hold on.
What do you mean?
He's not cup tied. He's club tied. He can't play against his
parent club.
Well, yes, okay. So it's not in a cup. Yes, so he's club tied. Then it's the same thing. But Lingard scored a brace
let it go.
in the last West Ham game. What are you talking about?
Just let it go, Tamsin.
Go ahead,
No.
Tamsy.
Let's let it go. Just give him the glare.
No, come on.
Name 5 other West Ham players.
Okay, and we're gonna keep.
Susek, Declan Rice, Fabianski.
Hey, Fabianski, that's my guy. Jack Wilshere.
This is
Mark Noble.
So basically, he's made Everton
Valencia.
2.0 again.
Benrahma.
You're looking at your other
There's
computer screen,
about-
Brad. You're a cheater.
Balbuena too.
I forgot.
There's 5.
And I have one on our fantasy team.
David Moyes is basically making Everton 2.0 again, and he's going to hit the same ceiling as he did for that. Because turns out, head to Souček is not always an effective way to score goals. And if that's the only way you're getting goals, like...
Well, I'm saying Lingard's important because he's actually
Lingard's
creative.
important 'cause he's like English enough to know that head to Souček means there's a second ball somewhere around.
Okay.
He's creative enough.
A donkey
That he
up
helped
top.
their
All
offense.
right,
what I'm saying.
All right. Moving on from
We don't need to spend a
from
lot
United
of time
West
on
Ham.
that news fest.
Everton and Tottenham is the only other interesting game in my opinion for the FA Cup. I think that there are other games that could get talked about, but I don't know. And
as far as
Brad
the FA Cup,
and the FA Cup. That's all that's going on. Everything else should be chalk in my opinion. But Everton and Tottenham, I think it's going to be interesting because I think Jose wants to win the FA Cup. Yes. I think if he has his choice of trophies, that's the one he wants. Because I think that I think if he would want to win the Europa League, I think clearly you want to win the Europa League, obviously, but I think that he sees the FA Cup as more attainable. So I think that that's where he's going to be going harder for.
I think he sees the League Cup as more attainable.
Well, I mean,
the final.
We got one more game. We're in the final. Yeah,
yes.
We're in the final.
Yes, but like you can't deal with that until April, right?
Yeah. This is a late League Cup. Yeah,
because of the schedule congestion.
Yeah.
But because of the fact that it's in April, you can't really even think about it, right? So it's non-existent until we get closer. So when he's comparing the competitions he has in front of him right now, he's got the EPL, he's got the FA Cup, he's got the EPL again, and then he's got Europa League. So I think I can see Jose running out a really strong team against Everton in the Cup because he's got City at the weekend, and I think he's more willing. I think he'd be more willing to kind of ship City 1,000 goals and beat Everton in the Cup, lose to City in the league, and win in the Europa League.
Yeah, he's fully given up on that.
I can see that timeline.
We trotted out a legitimate team against Chelsea.
Yeah, but
and then he gave the quote. So, we're going to try out the same team and hope we can beat Everton?
I mean, you guys, with that...
you have Harry Kane back.
True. He did convince everyone that Harry Kane was injured.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So, I think that's going to be a good game, but I really should... If I'm a Tottenham fan, I'm expecting to win that game, and I want to win that game. I'm not a Tottenham fan. I hope you guys lose. But if I was a Tottenham fan, that would be my mentality.
The priority game.
Yeah, it would certainly be absolutely. Everton over City.
At this point, we shouldn't commit. We shouldn't put all of our eggs in the basket of trying to beat City because, first of all, that's going to be it's a tall order. It's a tall order to try to beat them. Even if we're
City again for the rest of the
season.
Even
if we're full strength.
I hate that. That's the best thing that Guardiola teams get is that when they get that fear factor, they're fucking unstoppable.
Yeah,
but it's
I don't think it's a fear factor. It's just we have all these games around it, and then
it's a fear factor thing. Nobody now teams are just gonna go play against Guardiola and just get rolled over.
Yep.
But last year teams were actually going punch for punch with Guardiola, right? Norwich beat them. Norwich won 3 games all season, right? That was that fear factor. Wolves did the double over them last year. Southampton beat them. But now everybody's like, oh, they're unstoppable. Especially now that they won 4-1 at Anfield. They won convincingly at Anfield.
So thinking about the EPL, big games this weekend for both Leicester and Liverpool because they play each other. So that's going to be big.
It's a big game.
City Tottenham on paper should be a good game, but I don't think it will turn out to be a good game. Arsenal
It's going
play
to be a bus fest.
Arsenal play Leeds. That's a fight for 10th place, but they're both right next to each other in the league, so that's an important game for those two clubs. Trap games. West Brom is hosting United, and Chelsea are hosting Newcastle. A resurgent Newcastle. I think the pick of the weekend, if I'm looking at just those 5 games, honestly, I think the best game is going to be the Arsenal-Leeds game.
Yeah.
Leeds are in good form right now.
Yeah, and depends whether Arteta actually grows the cojones to go toe-to-toe with Bielsa. Or if he cowers out, like he tries to like outthink Bielsa, you're going to concede 6.
Yeah.
You're going to concede 6. Any team that wants to like, oh, we're going to sit back and counter Bielsa, they always concede 6. Palace conceded 5, Newcastle conceded 6, Newcastle conceded 4. Like didn't
Liverpool concede 4?
We conceded 3.
Oh,
We smashed them 4-3. That's the only way you're gonna have to beat Leeds. Like you just have to go toe to toe and like hope that Bamford is shit. I mean, just know that Bamford is shit.
How are you feeling about this Leicester game coming up? Because you guys have to go to Leicester.
Off, man. I gotta wake up at 7:30 in the morning to watch this horrendous game. I gotta wake up at 7:30 in the morning to watch Suffer Ball.
I woke up at 7:30 in the morning to watch Cedric pass.
Cedric was the worst player I've ever seen.
Have a second assist, have a hockey assist for Aston Villa, and ruin my weekend. So,
dude,
I'm with you on this.
Suffer Ball. Oh, it's the worst.
What do you think's gonna happen? Do you think Liverpool's gonna win?
It's gonna be 1-1.
You think so?
Yeah.
Do you think that's because neither team wants to lose that game?
No, it's because Liverpool. All right, so Liverpool are gonna play really fucking well, and then somebody's gonna make a bonehead move, and we're gonna concede 1 at the end, and it's gonna end 1-1, and we're all gonna feel like a loss, even though it's a tie.
Okay. All right, fine. City Tottenham, Sean. What? I mean, I kind of dominated that conversation with the Everton Tottenham game, but what are you thinking about in that game?
No injuries.
No. Okay. So don't play Kane.
Like I don't know. It's going to be a bus fest. It's going to be 10 behind the ball.
I like that.
Dude, that might
inshallah. Like
that's going to be a worse game, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be awful to watch.
It's going to be awful.
I would rather wake up at 7:30 to watch Leicester Liverpool than I think to watch that City Tottenham game.
Yeah.
What about this trap game for you guys, Brad? Newcastle, you worried?
It's interesting, right? Because Newcastle has their new first team coach, and then we have Tuchel and his staff. So like,
Newcastle don't have Callum Wilson, I think, so they're gonna get rolled over.
They do have Joe Willock.
Who?
Ooh.
JK.
Don't
go on my boy like that.
Joe Willock needs to come to Anfield.
Yo,
he's the
stop
ultimate Jurgen Klopp. He's the ultimate Jurgen Klopp center midfielder. Just run all day, like
you can't have him.
It's like the best. Like,
nope.
But I think Chelsea wins.
Okay.
I think Chelsea wins, and I think it's in a dominating.
I sincerely hope Steve Bruce puts up Andy Carroll and Joe Linton up top again.
Yes.
We need to teach Tuchel that Brexit means Brexit. What is this foo ass juego de posición bullshit?
Yeah, where John Joe Shelby just punting the ball.
Exactly.
I so badly want to see a Newcastle just like shithouse win. That would be so beautiful.
I am gonna be laughing all day.
I'll go get a case of Newcastle brown ale,
buddy.
Do we think that West Brom have a chance against United?
I mean, West Brom shows up.
Yeah, they do.
They show up.
They show up and then lose.
Didn't they lose 5-0 to someone recently?
Yes.
Is that showing up, Brad?
Yes. They just technically showed up. Yes.
they arrived at the pitch and put their shin pads on and played a football game. That is true.
Did y'all see the video of Allardyce on Reddit.
With the throw-in?
No, with the header. And he gets the ball and he heads it down and proper header. I'm like, yes.
I saw the one where he got the ball and he was trying to throw it in and he put it down on the ground and he looked frustrated. He couldn't have a pass. Yo, I want to hear that comment. Unmute the mic.
Unmute it.
I said it was on Reddit. It was Spurs 0-0 West Brom. Sam Allardyce proper.
Sam Allardyce proper header.
So
yeah, I need Tuchel to learn that Brexit means Brexit. some proper beans and toast football.
Oh man, I think that Bielsa's going to score 45 goals against Arsenal, and Arsenal's just going to implode. It's going to be a black
David versus a high press.
It's just going to be a black hole, and we're just going to just everything's going to explode. I'm not looking forward to this game. I have no hope in this game. I want to be proven wrong so badly, but the hope and the belief is sucked out of me.
I just want y'all to know that Patrick Bamford's the second highest goal scorer in the league.
He's going to get a hat trick against Arsenal.
Imagine if Patrick Bamford pips Mo Salah to the golden boot.
Yo, he's going to have a proper hat trick. He's going to have a left,
he's the only one
right,
that can score.
He honestly should, though. If he could convert on all of these chances, he should.
Yeah. I'm curious to look. I'm going to look up his conversion rate after this. Because I imagine that
it's 27%. It's
it?
Literally 27%. He has one of the lowest in the top leagues.
The Richmond Leeds organization is population 1, and I know the dude, and it's awesome because he comes and watches every daggone game.
Send him a band,
and it's just him.
Other than that. Only other interesting game because the Champions League is back. Got Liverpool and Leipzig. Where is that game being played, Tamzid? Has it been announced yet? Narnia.
We don't know yet.
It's still not announced.
Nope.
How is
Leipzig hasn't found a location yet. They have to talk to. I think it'll be in Salzburg.
Okay.
I think it'll be in Salzburg. Yeah.
Because they announced the Arsenal locations. We're playing our first game in.
It will take place in Budapest, Hungary.
You found out that Budapest is in...
Yeah, the Liverpool game will take place in Budapest. From one day ago.
You found out that it's not in Russia.
Yeah, what country is Budapest in, Brad?
Hey, look. I was just doing some Sudbury geography, okay?
Okay, all right. What was the other city you thought was in Russia?
Warsaw.
I didn't say either one.
Warsaw.
Yeah, Warsaw is also in Russia.
Is that our apology to Eastern Europe?
Yes, we would like to close this podcast with just.
Are you trying to imply Poland and Russia are the same thing?
Yo,
so
Polish people are going to fight you, Brad.
No, we do not want to say that to anybody. Thank you to everyone in Eastern Europe that listens.
Yo, if you
Poland and Russia are not the same thing.
Please take up all of your Eastern European beef at KS Brad G.
KS Brad, yes.
KS right Brad G. He's the guy you want to talk to because he's the one that doesn't understand the geopolitical implications of what he's saying.
Yes.
But we're done. That's all. That's all we got.
Wait.
Oh,
got one more
okay.
thing.
Yes.
Brad trying to annex the conversation too.
I forgot that. Yeah. Okay, Brad. Give us your fun your Snapple fact of the day.
The last time Tottenham won a trophy, the MCU did not exist.
That one was not good.
Not a good one.
That one was
Iron Man 1 came out in October of 2008. Robert Downey Jr. was not Iron Man yet.
It's not that old.
Technicalities.
That one wasn't good. All right,
I'm going to bed, guys.
That's at KS Brad G. That's Brad. Get him on Twitter. We got at Firmino's Dentist. Talk to Tanzid there. Got at Whiteheart _ Sean. He's below me. That's Sean. I'm at James Tiffany. Follow us at redcard _ radio. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff.
Shout out to Anastasio for the new logo.
Yeah, 100% back to
Shout out to my boy Stas.
Stas365 on Instagram.
Check him out.
he's a good friend of ours, and he made this dope logo for us. But that's all we have for you guys. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you all next time.